active weather throughout the Midwest. Really windy for us, and it's extended all the way back down into the southern plains today. No joke, folks. Winds have gusted to hurricane force across Oklahoma and Texas. It gets very windy, though, in the Midwest. You can see the flags that are whipping in the wind right now. It is a hot day in St. Louis. It is 83 degrees. The humidity has increased. The dynamics are there, Alex, for severe weather to crop up here the next few hours.
Yeah, unfortunately, all of this coming together to bring us that risk of severe storms, including that risk of significant tornadoes. Even tonight, we've got that torque-on value of 7. So that means tornado watches are a slam dunk, and we've got one right now. That includes the St. Louis metro area until 11 o'clock Central Time. So looking at north central Arkansas into the state of Missouri, and then western sections of the state of Illinois. Severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock for parts of Iowa, eastern Nebraska, western Missouri. Kansas City has been dropped from that as the storms have moved off to your east. You can see up and down this line, we are warned. Now, right now, not seeing rotation. We are not dealing with tornado warnings, but we're still dealing with some really potent thunderstorms. We've got gusts of 60 to 70 plus miles an hour possible out of these storms that are racing along interstates like I-44 down here in southwest Missouri. Cedar, Hickory, and Polk counties under the severe thunderstorm warning until 5:45. Considerable threat tag on this one indicates that potential for winds at or above 70 miles an hour. So that's going to easily take down trees. We've seen winds toppling semi-trucks. It's going to make it hard to even hold on to those high-profile vehicles. So if you are traveling, later today, or right now and later today, you've got to watch for that threat. Again, it is the straight line winds that we're seeing, so we're not dealing with any areas of rotation at this point, but you can see that line of wind that is edging closer to places like Bolivar as we speak. So next few hours active here, then we move into some more favorable areas for tornadoes. That's going to be in eastern Iowa and eastern Missouri, western Illinois, as we've got all of that moisture, that warmth, and the wind dynamics. Omaha just went under a severe thunderstorm warning. You can see where that low is, that low back into parts of Kansas, and you can see that overall, counterclockwise flow of these thunderstorms. So these storms are generally moving south to north, whereas other ones farther into southern Missouri moving more of an east to west direction. Douglas, Pottawatomie, and Washington counties are the ones here in the state of Nebraska under the severe thunderstorm warning. So we're watching for hail and winds to 60 miles an hour. A lot of hail today has been quarter size or less. So I've seen a lot of reports of penny, nickel, and quarter-sized hail. We take you down into the state of Louisiana where things are starting to get going. We've got a little bit of thunderstorm action, some lightning. We've got a new tornado watch to tell you about in this area. So it's also to the south, those spots that we've got to watch. Things have been very, very warm across sections of the south. We've got the moisture there. That Gulf has been pumping in those higher dew points, and so we've got the threat of tornadoes all the way down to Louisiana. Tornado watch until 10 o'clock. This is not the end of the road for you guys. You guys are going to be watching for that threat tomorrow, right around, mid to late morning, I think, for parts of eastern Louisiana. Again, there's our overall low into parts of Kansas. This moves this way. We've got our storms that are already focused into western and central Missouri, Mike. They sweep towards the St. Louis area, northern Arkansas. And again, what we're seeing now building into parts of Louisiana could also get pretty spicy here in the coming hours.
And then the next spot that we really may watch for a clobbering is Chicago. Here we are virtually in Chicago later on tonight, maybe give or take around midnight. Look at that sky. It gets really violent. A lot of heavy rain, lightning, thunder, heavy winds, and even a chance for some tornadoes. Just want to keep that in mind, okay? There's the overall spin right in there. We've got a lot of flow that comes out. You can see how everything's starting to fan out now. Eventually, Chicago, you'll be in line for that. So just want to give you the heads up that hours from now, it's coming for you. So monitor the forecast hourly at this point, if not more frequently, to give an update on the storms. They're back to your west right now. Alex was showing us all the locations where the storms are lining up. You can see the dry line that's advancing right now. A lot of moisture out ahead of that. And honestly, a lot of moisture is going to surge right into the Chicagoland area, really from St. Louis to Chicago and all points in between back to the Quad Cities as well, as the dew points really start to climb here the next couple of hours. We take a look at the low-level wind shear right now. If you look at the winds, a lot of these winds are coming out of the south right now. There's plenty of southwest winds here across the plains. And then you take a look at the mid-level winds that we have, so about 5,000 feet or so. Actually, there's a lot of alignment here. So what you're seeing is a lot of straight-line wind. Wind gusting in Texas today, more than 80 miles an hour. The area that we do have some wind shear, where the winds are crossing a little bit, is right in here through central Illinois back into eastern Iowa. And that's an area we really may focus on for a lot of supercell thunderstorm development, or at least a continuation of some of the storms that we have in here. So no reason to think that these storms will die down as they move into that wind shear environment across the Illinois and Iowa. So here's the future radar, and you can see plenty of storms that are firing right now. They'll continue to do that right through the night tonight. Really tough stuff for you here. Either side of St. Louis, extending up towards St. Peoria. More storms forming to the south, but notice the timeline at the top there. 9, 10, 11 o'clock, now midnight or after, storms coming through Chicago, and Gary extending back down towards, say, Evansville, Owensboro, back down toward Paducah as well. A lot of heavy rain coming for Indiana. Going to watch for some flooding here. More heavy rain down across the Tennessee Valley. Watching for flooding here. And then storms that will be quick to move through a place probably like Toledo and Detroit early tomorrow. But a large area where flooding could be possible from south of Jackson all the way to northern Illinois. All right, just focusing in here on eastern Iowa into northwestern Illinois. Right here in the Quad Cities area. Watch the storms to really get in.
Right, for Saturday, you're talking about it. I know I'm hearing from friends and relatives a significant and dangerous severe weather event expected with a high risk now in play for parts of Mississippi into the state of Alabama. Moderate risk from areas like New Orleans all the way up to the Atlanta area. So that means we've got Torcon values as high as 7 for nearly the entire state of Alabama, western parts of Florida, around Jackson, Mississippi. You're right at that 9, and we keep that going into the Birmingham area. So unfortunately, it is parts of Mississippi and Alabama that look to be in the bullseye. Numerous tornadoes likely tomorrow. Once you get to that Torcon of 9, that tells us, again, tornado watches a slam dunk. Significant, dangerous weather expected with numerous tornadoes likely. These could also be some of those higher-end tornadoes, the strong, long-track tornadoes. Strong tornadoes would be the EF2 or greater. The possibility is there, even the likelihood, for a few violent tornadoes. These are the ones that get up into EF4, even EF5 territory, and these are the ones that do significant damage, which is why it is so crucial that you have a very secure spot to go tomorrow. If you are in a mobile home, if you are in a manufactured home, no shame in that. It is just not going to be a safe place to be. You have to go somewhere to be during these storms. It's got to be a sturdy building. Even if you're in something like a well-built home, you've got to pick that lowest level, most interior room if you are at your home. Obviously, basements, storm shelters, they are going to be the absolute best on a day like tomorrow. Available energy, no lack of that across parts of the Gulf Coast. It has been warm. We've got that Gulf just providing that moisture. So the moisture's there, the instability is there. We've got an area of low pressure that's really going to start to deepen. So as this deepens, that's also going to fuel these thunderstorms, get them going. And we've got that turning of winds with height, southerly winds at the surface, southwesterly winds aloft that could allow those storms to start to develop those rotating updrafts. And these individual supercell thunderstorms with those rotating updrafts are so often the ones that produce tornadoes and also large hail. So by tomorrow evening, that threat shifts into the northern areas. So places like Alabama, even North Georgia. We start off tomorrow morning with showers and thunderstorms around places like Birmingham and Chattanooga. So don't think that that's going to be the main event. Here around lunchtime, storms are already really firing across the state of Mississippi into Louisiana. They move into Alabama by mid to late afternoon through the evening in a place like Chattanooga. I think it's going to be a later threat once the sun goes down, once you're probably home from your Saturday evening plans in a place like Atlanta. But notice, Dr. Knapp still seeing that broken line. So things don't completely line up. That tells us we could still be dealing with some of those rotating storms into North Georgia. Still the possibility of tornadoes there.
That broken line could still have very intense supercells with it. So one thing to calibrate our minds for tomorrow is to acknowledge what the Storm Prediction Center is actually saying. They reserve strong language like this for when they really mean business. A tornado outbreak is likely, and numerous significant tornadoes, some of which should be long track and potentially violent. All these supercells are going to be spinning, and we're going to get very dangerous tornadoes. And when you look at this map, I want you to not only focus on where the Torcon of 9 is, but how large the area with the 7 that includes New Orleans and Pensacola and Montgomery. And if you were in Atlanta and you were in the middle of a bullseye Torcon that was as high as 5, that would get your attention, right? So don't lessen your concern because, oh, it's going to be worse to the west. It could be very bad in your location where you have a Torcana 5, like in Nashville, and where there's a number, there is a risk. Everybody in here needs to be prepared for tomorrow. And our surface cyclone is already a big beast, large and intense, and it's already bringing tremendous instability into the Gulf Coast states. And the problem here is that 2 straight days of that happening is really going to make the atmosphere extremely volatile in Alabama and Mississippi tomorrow, because it's not just this system, it's the one behind it that is going to amplify the situation by causing another surface low to form and a strong jet here to cause the low level and deep layer shear to be very, very intense tomorrow night into Sunday morning. So that second system in combination with the first one is what is going to cause so much trouble here. And we're going to have tremendous instability because of a second day of flow off the Gulf. And with the stronger low to the south, we enhance the low-level wind shear in this zone. And with the winds increasing with height, we're going to organize these cells. And along and ahead of that low in front, the low level and deep layer shear is going to mean numerous supercells that last well into the night, into Georgia, into the next morning. So watch how the instability is so high when we begin the day. Then we get the energy coming in right at the time of daytime heating to maximize the instability, and the low level shear will only get worse as we go through the afternoon and evening because of the strengthening of that southern surface low. So this is going to be a supercell training episode with low-level wind shear that is off the charts, Mike, and instability to go with it. And it's so important to realize that this could be a problem all the way into Georgia late tomorrow night, even as it becomes a line. There's still going to be supercells.
Yeah, numerous states in harm's way. Dr. Knapp, thank you very much for that. We know that the emergency alerts that you receive on your cell phone, they could be the only thing standing between you and serious harm when tornadoes strike. Meteorologist Paul Goodlow walks you through the steps to safety.
We're not always by our TVs and radios when severe weather strikes, but chances are we do have our mobile phones with us. The emergency alert features found on most smartphones can be a lifesaver during severe weather. Here's how to make sure yours are enabled. On the iPhone, simply go to Settings, click Notifications, and scroll down to the bottom. Make sure the emergency alerts and public safety alerts are toggled to the green on position. For many Android phones, look at your message settings for the word Alerts, and you can choose which ones you want to enable from there. Some alerts can be in up locations on Android phones, so just search for the words Emergency Alerts. Fortunately, these smartphone alerts will work in any town you are in and will warn you of any possible dangerous weather heading your way.
Really what you're looking for is peace of mind, so making sure those alerts are turned on will give you peace of mind knowing you're going to receive the warning, okay? Now, Atlanta, mild day-to-day temperatures in the mid-70s. You have filtered sunshine right now. Your current temperature is 73 during the evening drive. You know, you're thinking, oh, man, what can I do this evening? I know storms could be on our forecast tomorrow, but maybe tonight is a nice night to grill out and enjoy the weather this evening, because we need to be heads up as we head into tomorrow, especially tomorrow night in a place like Atlanta. Here's the forecast for tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, and it really could be morning, in the afternoon, as well as at night, we have a severe weather threat. Torcon as high as a 9, folks. This is really dangerous stuff. Remember, our Torcon only goes to a 10. It's about as high as it gets. Hattiesburg to Birmingham. Torcons of 7 that flirt with the Atlanta metro, but a Torcon of 5 in Atlanta, extending up to Nashville, back down toward New Orleans as well. So what would that mean for Atlanta with Torcon of 5? Damaging winds would be likely, large hail is possible, medium risk for tornadoes, and it may happen while you're sleeping. Take a look at the forecast here in North Georgia. Atlanta, you take a look at the screen here. Most of the day tomorrow is fine. You're in really good shape. It's late in the day, about 9 o'clock. Storms start to move in. There's the big line now, about 1 o'clock in the morning. Northern and western suburbs getting hit. You do not want to travel at this time, and maybe you want to sleep in your safe spot at night and take the kids down there, the pets as well. Everything gone by the time you wake up in the morning on Sunday. But a really violent night could be coming your way in Atlanta. For Nashville, storms happen for us at early morning hours on Saturday. More storms throughout the day on Saturday. Worst time, noon time. Heads up.
I've heard that you're obsessed with actors